Hi everyone, so today I want to show you this card I've made. This is I've had a request for a tunnel card, so I thought I'd do an internal tunnel card and I'd use some of the roles. So this is all the roles I've used in this video. Some of the roles that I got recently. So as you can see, I use all of these roles in this card. So I'm going to open it up now and then you can see what I've done. So you open it up and you have this lovely beach scene. And I still need to put a greeting at the top here. And then here you've basically got like the sea. I don't know if you can see it. And I think it would be really nice if you had a light in here. And in fact, if I take my phone, switch on the torch and show you, can you sort of see all the different layers? I don't know if you can see all the different layers. But I think it would be quite nice if there was a little fairy light type things. Little battery powered ones, if there was fairy lights in there as well. I did go a bit crazy with my coral, so you can't actually see the bottom of the sea, which is a shame, but never mind. And then on the edge there you've got a little seashells there, and then when you close it up on the back you've got space to write. So it folds flat, fits in an envelope for a 6x6 card. It is a little bit chunky, but not as chunky as I thought it was going to be, so it's not too bad. I used 250 GSM card for this. I kept my pattern and matte layers nice and thin, and obviously on the inside you have got some pattern on here, but it is again thin pattern. So just make sure I haven't gone for any mattes, so that's going to help to keep it down. So yeah, so all the stickers that I've got here are from journalsay.com. All the links are in the description below, and if you use my code ICEDImages you'll get yourself 8% off your order. So let's get into it. Okay, so for this card you're going to need one piece that is 6x11, and this needs to be scored at 6 inches and at 10.5 inches, like that. I'll put that to one side. Then you need one piece that is 6x6.5, and on the 6.5 inch edge you're going to score that at 1.5 and at 6, like that, and then that can go to one side. And then you need two pieces that are 5.5 by 6, and on the 5.5 inch edge you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 5 inches. You can do that on the other piece as well. And then what we're going to do is on this big piece we're just going to fold it so it's basically kind of like in half, and then you're also then going to fold that tab as well, so you just mount all mounting folds. So you should end up with that. And then if we go over here, all of these pieces, they're all just got mounting folds on them, so I'm just going to go ahead and mounting fold them. We do need to die cut some bits out of them, but we'll come to that in a moment. And I found that if I fold and burnish my score lines first, then when I die cut it, those score lines are less likely to kind of just disappear. So yeah. So you should end up with one piece that looks like that, and then two pieces that look like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and die cut some bits out. So this one here is going to be a top layer, and so what we want to do for that, this will be at the back, this will be at the front. So I'm actually going to use an oval die, and that is going to go on there like that. I kind of wanted like an odd shaped one. Actually, before we do this, what I need to do is go ahead and I'm going to stick some paper on the top. So I've got a piece here and it's literally just slightly smaller than the size of the card, because I didn't really want to have a border. You could do it with a border, but I kind of didn't want to because I'm going to put some more stuff on top. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this down, and I need to make sure that I cover the whole back because we're going to die cut. You don't want any flappy bits, so I just need to make sure that I tape the whole area. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've taped what I think I need to tape. Obviously if you're wet gluing you could just wet glue the whole thing. So that is enough so that then I know I'm not going to end up with any flappy edges. And I've done a bit more inside as well, just in case I decide I want to use that oval for other things. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and stick this onto here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and die cut this oval out of here, just making sure it's nice and central. Now I'm using this die cutting machine, which you can just about get a 6-inch width on. This is the Kokorosa one, but you can just, if you're lucky, you can just about get that through the slot. So yeah, I'm going to die cut that and I shall be back with you in a moment. Okay, so I've managed to successfully die cut that out. As you can see, as long as you don't use too thick a paper, you should be able to do the 2 layers at the same time, which is another reason why I didn't do a mat on it, because I wanted to be able to definitely do it. So that's that one done. We now need to do the same with these 2 other pieces. So if you want, you can line them up, but on my little sample one that I did actually kind of offset them. Can you see I've kind of offset them all, just to give it a kind of a different look, and I quite like that, so I'm going to do that again now. So I'm just going to randomly place this on, and for this one I haven't actually got anything to put over, like I haven't actually got a pattern paper, and I was thinking that I might do one, so I think I might cover these with something. You'll see why, because it's more like the sea then if you make them blue, as if they're white it's a little bit too white. So yeah, so I'm going to find some sea paper and put that on, and then repeat the process again. Okay, so once you lay them up, you've got this kind of look. It's almost like a shutter kind of thing, but it's just that when you've got them kind of separated out, and when you've got different things on top, it just gives you that, it's not just a straight down. Like if you wanted to, you could get smaller. If you don't have, you haven't got a nesting oval that maybe works, or you haven't got a side, you can just move it around. It doesn't, once you've got everything together, you'll see it doesn't really make a great deal of difference. So what I'm going to do now is on the underside of these we're going to put acetate. So these acetate sheets are 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. I've done them slightly smaller than I need them, and we're going to go ahead and stick these down. I'm going to use red tape, but I just need to make sure that on these sides here I'm putting it on the acetate, or literally right close, and I use the thin stuff so that it doesn't show through. Little tip, if you put your acetate on in place and then stick your red tape on top, you will then see where you can stick and where's going to be a problem. So I'm already seeing if I use this is a little bit too wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use slightly thinner tape so that I can actually stick it on, because even with that there like that width there looks like it's going to be just right on the cusp, so it doesn't really allow for much error. So I'm going to do a couple of lines of this instead. Okay, so there you have your 3 pieces. I'm trying to catch it so it catches the light. So that's got acetate on it, that's got acetate on it, so you can probably see a bit of a reflection, and that one's got acetate on it. Okay, so now what we want to do is I'm going to take the base, which is this one, and this is going to be the front of the card. This is going to be the actual base. So what we're going to do is turn this over, and on here we just want to stick on whatever it is we want on the front, and that's the best thing to do. So we are going to go ahead, and I've already cut out a piece of mat that's 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and a piece of pattern that's 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those 2 together. Okay, so I've stuck that down. Now obviously bear in mind it's going to open like a top fold card, so that's the way you want things to be. Now what I thought would be quite nice to do, and I saw somebody else do this, and I will put a little thing up on the screen of who I saw, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've got these dies which are like stamp dies, and these were actually from Trimcraft originally ages ago, but there's lots of other ones you can get. So I cut out 6 of these. 3 of them are going to be like the base, and then 3 of them are going to be the frame. So I cut out 6, and then on 3 of them I used a square die just to cut the centres out, and I'm going to put them on top of the other. And then inside of them, as you can see, here's one that I've already done. I'm using this, which some of you will recognise from my Journal Stay haul, these stickers here, because they've got these little scenes on them, and they're so cool. As you can see, I've used that one there, so I deliberately made sure I cut them out so they were the right size. So we're going to use that one there, I think. So just going to peel this off here, and they come off nice and easy. And then we're going to stick that one onto here. Just want to make sure it's nice and central. And I'm pretty sure that these don't actually, they're not too big for the frames. Yeah, so just double check before you stick them down that they're going to be alright, they're not going to go over the side. So that's that one. And then we'll stick, in a minute, we'll stick this frame over the top like that, so it frames. Look how pretty that is. It frames the whole thing. So I'm going to do the same with this one. Right, so now I'm going to go ahead and stick the frames on. Now, because these are PET stickers, I don't think I want to use Yoo-hoo. So you could either use very thin red tape or a good wet glue. So I'm using this Fast Tack glue. This I originally got from DRK Crafts. I don't know if they've got any more on their website, but I'm pretty sure this brand is from, oh, it's actually Grove. So yeah, no, it might be them. Anyway, it's a good glue, so I'm going to use that. So I'm just going to go ahead now and stick these last 2 frames on here. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to do it like this. So I'm just laid it on. So I'm going to use I would normally use silicone glue, but I'm going to use this really thin red tape, just so I've got a bit of something, but it's not, you know, it's not too much. So I'm just going to go ahead now and stick these down. Okay, so there's the front done, and I'm quite pleased with that. Really love the way these stickers come out. I really do. So anyway, on the inside here, this is going to be the bottom of the C. And so I thought, what a perfect excuse to use this tape. Going all stickers today. So this PET tape, but look how nice that is. If I put it on there like that, oh, it's literally the bottom of the C. So I'm just literally going to put lines of this going across and just stick it on. Just stick it down, and then we can go ahead then and add in our other bits and bobs. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick this down. Now the beauty of this one's not, this is kind of not see-through, but it is, you can see the colours behind, but it's not like, there's no clear areas as such, but that is absolutely fine for what we want. So let's go ahead and stick this down. Okay, so I have got, as you can probably see, lines, but to be honest, I don't think you're going to see them. By the time we've added all the little fishies and the shells and the whatever, I don't think you're going to see them. So that's as much as I want to do with that. So then we want to bring our layers back in again. Now, I'm going to start with the top layer, and we need to start decorating. So what I'm going to do is on this top layer here, I found these ones, which is another one of the rolls that I bought, that I got from Journal Say, and these are like shells, and I just thought, how cute is that? If we had like a little run of shells across the bottom here, just thought that would be really sweet. So I thought a run of shells along the bottom there, potentially another run of shells along the top, or we just leave it. I'm not sure. It's a shame I haven't got any. I think they have got some that are just like shells, but I was thinking like, so shells top and bottom probably would look a bit odd. I don't know. I just think it's quite a nice little, I definitely want them on the bottom, and then I'm not sure on the top or not, whether I do or not. But what I'm going to do, because there's a bit of a join line there, so I'm just going to trim this here fact, I'm going to trim it a little bit past it so I can trim that off in a minute. And then line that join up with that there. And then I'm just going to trim a little bit off the end here. So it's a bit longer than I need it. And then I'm also going to just trim along the bottom here, because I would like, because these are actually just, they're the full width of tape. But I would like to just kind of not have that extra like bit at the bottom there. So I'm just going to just cut it myself. And then I also may well do the same on the top. So that's that bit. So now that will line up along the bottom nicely. And then I think I might also do the same along the seashells. So I'm going to go from like here. It's going to cut into there. And then I am going to do this. Now I know I'm missing out some bubbles there, but that's fine. I'll probably go around the next lot of bubbles because I quite like the bubbles. And I'm just going to fussy cut. Actually, now I'm going to miss out those bubbles as well. I'm going to fussy cut around the edge. It's not too tricky. They're only just a few shells, and you can't see this edge because it's see-through anyway. It's just so I haven't got that line really. So that's one bit done. And then we will come in over here. And just fussy cut around the edge here. Okay, like that. And then we can go ahead and stick that down onto there. And that looks really nice. I really like the look of that. So let's go ahead and stick that down. So there we go, that's that one there. Now I am tempted to do the same along the top. I know they're going to be upside down, but I don't mind it. I actually don't mind it, so I'm going to do the same on the top as well. I don't mind them being upside down. So again, I'm just going to go a little bit past, like about there, I think. In fact, maybe I have half. I quite like this shell, so I think we'll go to there. And actually that's where the join is, so let's cut down the join like that. And then again, I'm just going to cut along the bottom and then do fussy cut along the top. Okay, so that's that one. I actually really like that. I just think that's beautiful. Yes, they're upside down, but I don't mind. I actually don't mind. So yeah, so that's that top layer done. Then next up we want the next layer down. So for this I have got quite a lot of fishies, as you know from my haul that you probably would have seen. Got quite a few fishies. I've got these three lots of fishies. So I think what I'm going to do is I just want to put them all the way across, and that's why I've put the acetate in. Now you could, if you wanted to, and I did think about this, was to actually have them so that you only peel off the backing on the sides and you leave the backing in the middle. But I was like, you know what, that's a lot of hassle. Let's just stick them straight onto acetate, and then at least I've got a, you know, it doesn't matter what I do. So with these, I just thought we could have, so I think for this middle layer, I was going to mainly go with like fishes swimming. Now I really would like some. I would like to have some that are kind of like just fishes on their own. And again, they would have had some stickers that were just fishes, but I didn't know I was making this card at that point. So I think what I'm going to do is we are just going to go with a few. I'm definitely going to put one here like that. So I'm going to cut that, in fact, yeah, I'm going to cut that to here. So if you wanted to, you can actually cut these little fishes out, but I don't really want to go that far. So let's just take this one off. The other thing is, if you're struggling to get the stick off the backing, just use a pin, poke, just kind of scrape a little bit at the corner, and it will soon come off, and then you can just peel the whole thing off, or you can do it in sections. And then I'm going to stick this onto here, try and sort of line it up with that, with the fold line, so about there, like that, stick that down like that, and then we're going to trim the excess off. Now for this top bit, I don't want to overlap too much, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the top part where the fishes are, and I'm just going to fussy cut around the corals, because then what I can do is I can use the corals somewhere else, but I just kind of want the fishes at the moment. Okay, so if we layer them up so far, look how nice that looks. So now we've got, and obviously you're going to have the sea on the bottom, so you've got at the moment that and then that. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put some coral. So this one is going to be literally all coral. If you wanted to put some fish on as well, you could. But I'm just going to go with coral on these. So, and I've got some bluey coral, which got a few pinky bits on it. And I've also got some pink coral as well. And again, it'd be nice if I actually had some just like coral on its own. And there are stickers out there, trust me, they will have rolls that have just coral on them. But I kind of feel like I'm just going to have to kind of layer. I think I might just kind of layer them up. I might just alternate with them, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick some of these on. Okay, so I went a bit over the top on my corals, but never mind, we've done it now, so it's tough bananas. So what we're going to do now is take this one here, and I think we're going to start with this one. So what we want to do is you want to stick this behind, so in front of that tab. So I'm going to stick it onto that tab, and I think that's the best way to start. So you either want to use red tape or wet glue. I'm going to go with wet glue. So just on the edge here, I'm going to put a little bit of glue, and then with it flat like so we need to stick this on like that. So that's going to stick on like that, and then this is going to fold down and just make sure it's all kind of even. If you've got any differences, so I've got a little bit of that sticking out. Oh, this doesn't want to stick. Hold on a second. The main thing is to make sure it's straight. If you've got bits sticking out, you can always trim it later. The one that I made, the prototype I made, did have that problem. So bear in mind, this is the front of your card. This is the way you're looking at it. So my corals need to go that way. So we're going to go ahead now and add some wet glue onto the front of this tab here. And then this is going to stick on here. So we're going to bring this up, so where that fold is there, we'll bring that up, and that is going to stick on there. And if you want to, you can actually lie it down the way that it's going to be, just so you can kind of get it into place and kind of get it straight. And again, I have got bits sticking out the side here, but I'm not going to be too bothered about that for now. So that's your next layer. Then you want to take your next layer, and again I'm going to angle it this way. I'm going to put glue on this tab here and stick it onto the front there. And I need to make sure that I line this edge up with the crease of the one I've just stuck down. So this is going to stick here like that. Just be careful if you are using glue that it doesn't tuck under. And then let's just shimmy it so that it kind of fits. That's going to go on top like that. Okay, so once you've done that, you should just pop it all up. You should have this kind of multi, and obviously we haven't finished sticking them down yet, but you should have all the different layers. But one thing I'm going to do before I stick this down is I really want to do this section here, because I think once I've stuck this, it could prove a little bit tricky. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to make a quick note. It's about 1.5 inches. So from this crease line, I'm just going to measure up 1.5 inches, just so I've got a rough idea of where my card is going to come to. but just so that I know, I'm not going to draw a line or anything, I don't want to be able to see it. But when you're layering up, one thing I didn't do with my corals, which is why I ended up in a bit of a problem, was you really need to start at the top and work your way down. Okay, so I found some ombre paper which I quite like, and this is a Craft Sensations Ombre Design Bright pad. I've had this for ages. I almost threw this out actually, but I'm glad I've kept it. So this is going to go on here, and I'm actually going to stick the whole thing on. You're going to miss out all this, but I may as well just stick it all on for now. It's a shame it's not wide enough, but it's fine. It's a bit of a border. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick that down. So obviously we're going to have to start from the top and work our way down. So you just need to work out where you need to start from. So I've kind of taken these bits of sand and whatever on here and also on the beach huts, and I've worked out that I need, the top of my tape needs to come to about there. But one thing I do want to do is I do want to just cut around my trees a little bit so I haven't got that line. So I am going to trim this here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fussy cut the tops of the trees. Okay, so I've stuck one layer down. I'm now going to put another layer of trees on. I don't want to overload, but I feel like, because otherwise I'm not going to have enough of enough height. So the other option, if I don't want to do trees, if I don't want to do extra trees, so I could maybe not do extra trees, I feel like I might overload it a little bit, is I could go for 2 layers of beach huts instead. So let's see what that looks like. So if we went for one lot there, like that, this is my line it has to come down to. So if I went for one lot, it should be kind of about there. Then the next lot would be in front. I don't know if that's going to be too busy. It's a bit of a tricky one. They're going to be too much. It's a bit of a tricky one to work out. The other option is to have it so you've got like a bit of blue lagoon in between the two, and I think I actually might go for that option. So I'm going to line that up there, and I've just got a bit of a green gap there. I actually don't mind that. I think we're going to go with that option. I think that works a little bit better. So we're just going to trim this off here, and then go ahead and stick that down. I've got a whole section here, and I'm not going to waste that. I will trim that off, and then I will use that on something else. I just thought that this didn't really fit with the country that I'm sort of trying to go for here. So again, I'm going to fussy cut across my beach huts and then stick it down. Okay, so that's that bit done. So now we need to go ahead and stick the whole thing down. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this along this line here, so you end up seeing all your tabs, and you want to put red tape on all of those tabs, because what's going to happen is that's going to fold down and stick onto it. So I'm actually going to put red tape on for this, because I just think it might stick a bit easier and a bit quicker. So we're going to do it, I'm going to red tape up one flap at a time. Okay, so I'm being a bit daring because I've taken off all my backing in one go, but mainly because this strip is overlapped by this strip. So then we're just going to go ahead and fold the whole thing down and stick it down. And when we open it up, we should have our little scene. I actually really like that. The only thing I need to do is I need to put something on here. Okay, so I found some of that sandpaper, if you excuse, it's not sandpaper, sand coloured printed paper, and I think I'm going to put that on there like that. I've got a big border here, but I don't think you're going to notice it once you put this over the top, I think we can get away with that. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick that on the front. Okay, so there we have it. There we have the final thing. So you've got your front cover, and then you open it up and you've got a whole scene going on. So you've got the nice beach thing. You could add, I think I might put a greeting on the inside here. You could put some clouds. You could put, if you get some of the separate stickers that've got like clouds and birds and things like that, you could do that. And then you've got this whole underground scene here. And I did go a bit crazy with the coral, but I think as well, if you put some little lights in here, that would look super good. And then obviously on the edge, you've got the extra detail of the beach. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with the way it turned out. I think, as I said, I probably went a bit too mad with the coral there, because you can't really see what's underneath. But yeah, I think it's quite a cute little card. And then you've also then got space on the back to write your message. So if you want to, you can mat and then put a white piece on. I'm probably just going to leave it as white because it is already quite chunky. It's not too bad, but it is quite chunky. But yeah, so that is the card for today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out journalsay.com and use my code iced images, which will get you 8% off your order. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. And while we're talking about travel, don't forget to go and check out my new channel, Suitcase Sites. I'll put a link in the description below. It's for all my travel vlogs. So yeah, go and check that out. And I'll see you again next time. Bye!